Stanford 15 and Oregon State 14. College football always delivers, and we know over the course of a weekend it's always going to deliver, but it wasn't supposed to deliver on a Thursday night in Corvallis. We've got instant analysis for you with Donald King from Last Word on College Football. And Don, I thought for quite a long time there that I was going to be tweeting you and saying, hey, I understand if you can't make it for instant analysis tonight, but it somehow worked out.
I was going to do instant analysis either way. I might have been just unloading, and candidly, I still feel like doing a little bit of that. That was about as ugly as it gets. Ugly. Yeah, sorry I'm a little delayed. I had to take a shower after watching that, though, to get some of the stench off. Just a horrible performance. Horrible.
We traded comments before we started recording, and it's something that only sports fans can relate to, that there's something about when you root for certain teams, when certain logos are on your side versus you've had a long history of coming off the short end of the stick, that logically and the probabilities all lined up for Oregon State late in the game before the Ryan Nall fumble. But somehow I still thought
they still found a way to lose.
Yeah, yep. Not going to happen. Something's going to happen here.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly right. And I feel bad for them. I feel bad for the kid with the fumble. He's a gamer. He had a fantastic game tonight. Certainly outplayed his former high school teammate, Cameron Scarlett, on the other side. Huge mistake at the wrong time. And conversely, great play by Harrison Phillips to both cause the fumble and to recover it, when the kid is desperately trying not to put the ball on the ground. Phillips is a beast, and, without him, Stanford probably gets blown out tonight. He'd probably lose that game by 2 touchdowns. He was in the backfield all night long. Your kid was completely unblockable. I think he made himself some money tonight.
Oh, that was an amazing play that he made. He did it all. He did it all in one play, blew it up completely, and took the ball away when that was the only option. Take the ball away.
And by the way, recovered the other fumble too to set up the field goal. Without either of those plays, the outcome's different.
Yet he makes the tremendous play, but he's got to go to the sideline and watch an offense that's been completely inept all night, try to get it done for its only touchdown of the night. And it looked like, despite shooting itself in the foot, that Oregon State may be able to recover. They contested the first 3 passes, played outstanding defense on one-on-one situations. And you could say Keller Christ didn't make poor decisions, but delivered the ball late as he had been all night. And then comes 4th and 10. And boy, the guts to throw it on a line, put it in a perfect spot. And for Smith to pull it down with a defender draped all over him was tremendous.
And honestly, it was actually a very good throw. He put it the only place he possibly could have. It was right on target. It was late, which is kind of his problem all night long. But Smith deserves huge props for pulling that catch in. Huge, because that's a very difficult catch to make while running in the other direction across the middle of the field. So, just enough. And it's a bit of a survive and advance. And when you've already got 2 losses, it's even more critical than it otherwise might be. But at the end of the day, the team had enough heart, to find a way to get it done. One other thought I had fairly early in the game, certainly by halftime, we should give Bryce Love the Heisman now, because if last week versus this week is the difference between having Bryce Love in the first half versus not having him at all, he's the best player in college football in the last 20 years. I mean, the Oregon game could do no wrong. And, that's not the most stout defense around. But they've certainly played better this year on a whole than Oregon State. And the offense looked unstoppable with Love back there. And it certainly looked anything but that tonight. And there were a couple of plays. There are some talented running backs, that Stanford's got, including Scarlett, and including Trevor Spates, including Dorian Maddox. Those guys they all have some talent. They have some things to bring. But I'll tell you, the way a couple of those runs were blocked, and I think the announcer made note of it this evening, there were a couple of times Love would have been gone. A healthy Love with no problem with that ankle. There were a couple of plays that were well enough blocked that he would have taken it to the house, just like he's been doing all season long. And that didn't happen tonight. And that seems to be, I think perhaps, I know I was guilty tonight of underestimating the difference that he would make. Figured against a very poor, 1-6 Oregon State team that hadn't been able to beat a single FBS opponent this year. Thought Stanford would have more than enough to get by them, probably not blow them out, because that's not what we really tend to do. But yeah, that was skin of your teeth kind of stuff, and about as dicey as it possibly could be.
Oregon State running neck and neck with Oregon as the worst defenses in the conference. And then if you look at the offense, they needed a lot of help to score the one touchdown that gave them the lead. They made two really good plays. It was the touchdown play that I believe Thomas Tyner finished off, and it was the earlier play to the tight end that was a nice pitch and catch. But other than that, it was the hit out of bounds that knocked off the helmet that was in retaliation, and it was the targeting that really set him up. So Stanford played well on defense, but made those kind of mistakes at a few crucial times, not just on that drive, but a few other times that kept Oregon State.
The roughing the kicker. Yeah, I mean, just sloppy. Very uncharacteristic, and just not a good performance whatsoever.
No Elijah Holder for the second half as well.
No Elijah Holder for the rest of the season. I mean, they mercifully didn't replay it, but I saw, I think, just enough when they showed the one replay. Yeah, that didn't look good. And he wasn't able to put any weight on it. I cannot imagine he's not done for the year. And that's devastating. He and Meeks have been unreal as a tandem, but man, that probably hurts more than just about anything else that we witnessed tonight.
Quentin Meeks made a play that goes unnoticed unless you're really focused on the game, really watching the game. A 3rd and long, player in space for Oregon State. I forget who it was, but he had the blocking set up for him.
It was Tyner, and it was well blocked. And if Meeks doesn't somehow make that tackle, Tyner's still running. They probably would have scored on that one. And then, given how anemic the offense was, I think that might have been it. You're exactly right.
So maybe Keller Christ keeps his job based on one throw. It was a heck of a throw.
I'm not sure he keeps his job. And
so that's my question. KJ Costello didn't see the field.
I don't understand it. I really don't. And Chris is a captain, and he's now 11-2 as a starter, and he's played really well in some big spots, and he's, by all accounts, an outstanding young man. But again, it was noted at times during the telecast, he's been outplayed at times this year by his understudy. And on why you don't give Costello a series in the 3rd quarter after all of that struggle, I'm not 100% sure. There's got to be something that, we, the public, don't quite know, but I don't know why you don't at least give the kid a series and see if he can give him a spark. The team was clearly flat on both sides of the ball.
So we've got a 3-game series for the Pac-12 North Division, and 2 of those games are going to be played here in the next 2 weeks with trips to Washington State and then the Washington game as well. The Cougars had that one game of an aberration that's one of the oddest scores in college football this season, especially in the Pac-12, losing to Cal 37-3, but they bounced back. But Stanford, despite the 2 losses, you don't look at the 2 losses, you look at the conference race, and it's a dead heat right now between the 3 teams.
Yeah, at Wazoo next week is absolutely enormous. Not a ton of reason to have a lot of confidence after this road performance this evening. But it's going to be a big game, and both teams are going to be up for it. It's going to be game planned well. There's an extra day of prep for from Stanford's point of view to get ready, since it's a Friday night game next week. Wazoo and then Washington and then the Apple Cup. That's going to call the Pac-12 North. That's it. Stanford still has Cal, and Cal is good enough to be dangerous, but that one's at Stanford Stadium. If it were going to be at Memorial Coliseum, that would be a huge watch out.
3 flawed football teams, but they are clearly the best in the division, and 3 very entertaining teams for different reasons. So different styles of play, different approaches, and that's what makes it fun as well, and long-standing traditions and rivalries between the 3. And so that's just going to be a fun series of games to keep an eye on with an outside shot at the college football playoff, but I try not to emphasize that. It's a Pac-12 championship on the line and appearance in the championship game, and let's not de-emphasize that. I'm kind of tired of the college football playoff only talk, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. One other thing of note, and it's it's difficult to talk about right now, but with tonight's win, David Shaw moves to within one now of the all-time lead in victories by Stanford football coach. He's now one win shy of the legendary Pop Warner. That was his 70th career win. A little over halfway through his 7th season at the Farm. So, huge kudos to him. Although, a lot of the faithful have been throwing things at the television screens and using his name in vain all night tonight.
I'm going to guess now. Once you threw out the name Pop Warner, we're talking all-time status. So his winning percentage might be better, probably is better, but I would lay a swell. Okay, maybe not.
It's actually very close, but Shaw's winning percentage is actually a little higher than Pop's is, remarkably. Now, Pop did win a national championship, and Shaw has not done so, hasn't gotten to a playoff yet. Third is his highest finish. But they're neck and neck from a percentage. It's literally percentage points, but Shaw actually has him by a couple. It's fascinating.
That was going to be my statement, Don. Before you threw out the name Pop Warner, I was going to say, I guarantee David Shaw has the best winning percentage, even though he's a game behind. And then you threw out Pop Warner, and I thought, well, maybe not.
No, he does. Even over Pop Warner, which is remarkable. So, we have to, you have feelings in the moment, but you got to set them aside. He's been the conference coach of the year 3 times. He's won 3 conference championships. He's won the only 2 Rose Bowls that Stanford has won since 1972. So his accomplishments, for the long haul are still laudable and worth being celebrated. It's just it's hard to feel great about all that right at this moment, but we'll be 100% behind him again next Friday night, out on the Palouse.
Hey, Don, while we're on the coaching theme, and before I let you go, and because I so much respect your opinion, and the camera's going to focus on Corey Hall's emotion and get the troops fired up, but he did much more than just
way more. That was a great game.
He game managed. There were no issues with the clock management, no issues with game management, nothing like that.
No, it was a fantastic game plan on offense and on defense, and he outcoached Shaw tonight. There's no two ways about that. Taking the air out of the ball, limiting the possessions, a really, really smart thing to do against the team when you feel like you're overmatched, and dialed up just the right amount of gamble on defense at exactly the right times. That sack in the fourth quarter, I thought that ended the game. I really thought that was it. What a fantastic and inspired defensive call. And the offense showed creativity all night long. That reception down near the goal line to the offensive lineman, come on, man. It was really, they did a fantastic job. So I don't mean to belittle the opponent or by any means the job that the Oregon State coaching staff did. They did a fantastic job. But if you look at those rosters and the talent, and you look at what Stanford has been able to accomplish against Oregon and Arizona State, and who else was in this winning streak? The UCLA. There have been some very talented football teams that Stanford is clearly overmatched, and the talent advantage evaporated tonight. And if the game planning was so much better to cause that many problems, that's not good. That says you were looking past this opponent and you almost got caught, and that's not acceptable. When you're right in the thick of a conference division race, yeah, you can't get caught and get your pants pulled down like that.
Don King, last word on college football, joining us to break down Stanford's improbable win. No, it wasn't improbable from the start, but considering the conclusion, pretty improbable that they pull it out in Corvallis over Oregon State, 15-14. Instant analysis right here on Mark Rogers TV. Please join Don at Last Word on College Football with the likes of Tony Siracusa, Lauren Beasley, Mike Laval, a lot of friends there. Doing a great job at Last Word on College Football. I think you guys keep me going over here, Don.
Well, thanks, Mark. We enjoy spending some time with you, and thanks a lot for your support.